His party banished him because he was a useless healer, but no one knew that he was the strongest adventurer in the world. Lost was an orphan born in a dungeon city where adventurers all over the world came to try their luck. He started adventuring right after he learnt walking, but made less progress in all those years than I have made with my crush. The reason behind this was that his class was a healer, but had no talent at all, and that earned him the title of Lost the Incompetent. Despite getting insulted each day, he strived to become an adventurer and even joined a party, but eventually he was kicked out. Today, he is standing in the Adventurers Guild with a board saying that he is looking for a party, and then suddenly, a blue-haired girl asks him to join her party. Everyone in the guild is shocked, and they look at the girl like they would at Michael Jackson and Kobe Bryant if they came back alive. The girl introduces herself as Sina, a martial artist, and Lost tells her that he is a healer, for whatever it's worth. Just then, the receptionist in charge of Lost, Amma, comes running there to stop Sina from making the biggest mistake of her life because she is talking to the biggest loser in this guild. The receptionist says that everyone knows that even Sakura was much more useful than him, so no one takes him in their party. However, Sina is a total noob who doesn't care about stuff like that, and she tells Alma that she had decided to form a party with Lost very long ago. She then goes to Lost to convince him to join her party, and Alma wonders what she meant by long time ago. Soon after that, she slides the paperwork for registering a new party towards Sina and Lost, and the stupid girl doesn't even know what to do. Luckily, Lost knows how to fill out the paperwork and does it for her. Sina keeps staring at him with affection, recalling how he was the one who saved her from a monster attack in the past. His act of heroism was imprinted on her that day, and ever since then, she has been trying to find him. After that, Alma asks for her commission, and Lost pays her some copper coins from his tiny purse. Alma declares that they are officially a party now, and Sina is really happy to hear that. They shake hands and hit the road, where Lost tells Sina about the dungeon in the city that has not yet been fully explored, and many adventurers come to conquer it. They get out of the city, and Sina asks Lost if it is too early for them to enter the dungeon because the receptionist earlier was lecturing him not to take the newbie to the dungeon so soon. Lost explains that because the magic energy of the dungeon leaks out, there are many parts around the city where monsters are found. All beginners start on the western side where the monsters are weakest, but Lost says since there are very few monsters there, it is not worth their time. He says that they should go to the dungeon because there are plenty of monsters there, and as long as they don't go deeper, they won't find anything strong. They soon reach the entrance of the dungeon, and Sina immediately steps in front of Lost, saying that she will walk ahead of him since she is a martial artist and he is a healer. Lost has no choice but to agree to her, but he is worried if she can actually fight. His worries are proved baseless as Sina shows off her skills and makes quick work of the goblins. She proudly asks Lost what does he think of her now, and he admits that he is impressed. The goblin bodies disappear and leave behind magic stones. Lost picks up one of them and explains that selling these stones to the guild is the main source of income for most adventurers. The stones have magic in them and can be used for various things. This is the 101 of becoming an adventurer, but the dumb Sina doesn't even know that. Anyway, Lost tells her that goblin magic stones don't sell for much, and they need to hunt stronger monsters to earn more. Sina is eager to go deeper with him, and they venture further into the dungeon. As they keep walking, Lost suddenly pulls her back because she was about to step on a trap. He puts a stone on the tile to disarm the trap, and the floor in front of them suddenly splits, revealing many skeletons pierced by sharp spikes below. Sina is amazed and asks Lost how did he notice it. He replies that he noticed that the color of the tile was a little different than others. They cross the trap area by clinging to the wall, and then Sina says that locating traps is a thief's job, and Lost tells her that he has picked a bunch of useful skills by being an adventurer for a long time. After a while, they suddenly run into an orc, and Lost says that a mid-level monster should not be found here. Sina asks if they should retreat, but he believes that together they can defeat the orc. He tells Sina that he won't try to force her, but she is ready to do anything together with him. They go in front of the orc, and Sina immediately charges towards it. She jumps high to deliver a powerful kick to him, but the orc is unfazed. However, the orc moves quite slow, giving her enough time to dodge its counter. Even then, she gets struck by a stray rock, and that gives the orc a chance to attack her once again. Sina shuts her eyes, but the orc's blow never reaches her. When she opens her eyes again, she sees Lost standing in front of her, and the orc already starting to disintegrate because of his deadly attack. She is left speechless by this and asks Lost if he is really a healer, and he gives the same old answer that he learned a lot after his years of being an adventurer. He then suddenly notices Sina's injury, and while she tells him that it's just a scratch, he insists on healing it properly. He uses a basic healing spell on it that takes too long even to heal such a small scratch. After that, they pick up the orc's magic stone that is worth a lot. Lost says that they have earned enough money and shown their skills too, so they should head back, but Sina wants to do even deeper. They explore the dungeon some more and then return to the guild, where Amma is taken aback to see so many magic stones. When she notices the orc's magic stone, she lashes at Lost, asking if he took Sina to the middle floors. He explains that they found an orc near the top, and Sina confirms what he just said. Amma believes Sina's words because she has heard other reports of strong monsters being found on the surface. She believes that something must be going on inside the dungeon, but she can't say for sure. She then asks if they want to sell the magic stones, and Lost affirms. Amma is really happy as she prepares their money, and Lost tells the confused Sina that the guild employees get a commission based on the sales made by the adventurers they manage. Soon, Amma presents a lot of money to them, and Lost is shocked because he didn't even earn 1/10 of it in his previous party for the same work. It finally dawns on him that he has been played like a fiddle by his previous party that scammed him of his hard-earned money. Amma always knew this, but she is not exactly a champion of justice. Sina says that it is too mean and the guild should step in, and Amma replies that they will solve the case for a good fee. However, Lost doesn't want to bother with it because he has already joined a new party and moved on from his past. They leave the guild with that and go straight to an inn Lost often visits and asks the owner if she has any spare rooms. The lady asks Lost if they need separate rooms or a shared one. Sina begins to let her fantasy run wild about sharing a bed with Lost, but he opts for separate rooms, disappointing her. Once inside her room, Sina begins to remember the day Lost saved her, when she was a blonde. He healed her minor injuries, and Sina told him that when she grows up, she will become an adventurer and form a party with him. Ever since that day, she has been training hard to become a strong adventurer, but now that she formed a party with him, he didn't even recognize her. She knows that it is obvious that after so many changes in her appearance, Lost wouldn't know who she was, but she still feels hurt. She shakes off these negative feelings and swears that no matter what, she is going to stick by Lost's side and protect him. However, she wonders why do the people of this city call him talentless when he is so strong. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel and watch this next video on your screen. At night, Lost has a dream about the day he was kicked out of his former party, Lightning Blade. They had taken a mission to hunt a powerful monster, but one of their main damage dealers got injured and was infected with poison as well. While the swordsman tried to hold off against the monster, Lost used his basic healing spell on the purple-haired bitch, who told him to hurry up. She called him useless because his healing spell won't detoxify the poison, and Lost told her that this would not happen if their party leader bought antidotes like he asked. The blonde swordsman told him that antidotes are too expensive, and it is Lost's fault that he can't use any purification spells despite being a healer. The Hydra monster began pushing him back, so he asked the timid magician to shoot some spells at it. The magician did as she was told, but her fireball did 0 damage, and she gave in to fear. The blonde asshole decided that this mission was impossible, so he turned his back on his friends and ran away. The timid magician also ran away screaming, and Lost had to support the purple bitch as they followed them. The next day, the swordsman told Lost that he was fired from their party because he was a total waste of oxygen, and they would do better without him. Lost was shocked to hear this, but both the swordsman and the purple girl told him that it was his fault that they failed the previous mission. They even forced the magician into blaming him, and that was the end of his time with the Lightning Blade. As Lost wakes up from the dream, he thinks that he had convinced himself that he didn't care about being kicked from the party. He then recalls that something even worse happened 6 years ago, when he was already gaining fame as the incompetent healer. A party approached him, and he was so eager to become a real adventurer that he joined them without asking any questions. However, those bastards just pushed him in front of dangerous monsters because they needed Lost to be bait. As he tried to run and dodge the monsters, the bastards began sneaking away, but the monsters noticed them. Karma is a bitch, and she came back to bite them in the worst possible way, with the monsters ending their lives. Lost was horrified by this, and he somehow managed to make it out of the dungeon. He was thinking about giving up on being an adventurer when he saw a carriage under attack by goblins. The only survivor was the young Sina, and without wasting a second, Lost charged ahead to save her. He was ready to sacrifice his life to save her, but then someone hit him from behind, and he passed out. When he woke up, he found Sina looking at him. Luckily, some knights on patrol duty had found them and gotten rid of all the goblins, and Lost realized that he couldn't do much to save the girl. He felt lost and useless, but she thanked him because he bought enough time for the knights to arrive there. Sina told Lost that he was very cool, and he couldn't believe her. He suddenly spotted an injury on her arm and began healing it. She thanked him, and he told her that this was all he could do. He told her how the party he joined used him as monster bait, and Sina began crying. She could not bear to see someone treated so cruelly, which is why she promised Lost that when she grows up, she will become an adventurer to form a party with him so that no one would treat him badly. She soon left with the knights, and Lost realized that she was from a noble family, so it was impossible for her to become an adventurer. However, her words encouraged him not to give up on being an adventurer, and he continued working hard. He met some mentors who told him to compensate for being a poor healer by picking up other skills. When he thought he was ready to work again, he joined the party Lightning Blade, but was kicked out after being humiliated in front of the entire guild. Lost begins thinking about the girl he saved again and thinks that if she hadn't encouraged him that day, he would have never met Sina, not realizing that they are the same person. Just then, Sina comes to his room to invite him for breakfast, and Lost gladly joins her. After that, they head to the dungeon again, and this time, they go deeper and find a floor with a teleportation circle. Lost tells Sina that the teleportation circle was placed here by a legendary magician hundreds of years ago. It can take them to various places within the dungeon where similar teleportation circles are present, but unfortunately, the skill of making them is lost to time, and no new teleportation circles can be created. After the lecture, Lost shows Sina how to use the teleportation circle and transports them to another room in the middle floors of the dungeon. Lost says that there are dangerous monsters here, so they should be more careful. Soon, they come face to face with some skeleton monsters, and Sina attacks their leader, only to pass right through it. Lost defeats the monsters on his side, and then comes to warn her that this is a lick, a monster that doesn't have a real body so physical attacks don't damage it. He tells her that they should retreat for now because they can't defeat it, but Sina says that she has a technique that can beat the lick. Lost realizes that she is talking about Kai, the spiritual energy which expert martial artists can manipulate and use as a weapon. He taunts and lures the lick after him, while Sina waits for her chance behind a pillar, gathering her Kai around her fist. Just as the lick passes her by, she comes out of hiding and hits it with her Kai-powered punch, immediately destroying it. Sina is proud of this, but then suddenly, the wounds she got from attacking the lick earlier begin to hurt. Lost rushes to her side and pulls out a pokeball-like magic tool that can amplify his healing powers. He casts healing magic on Sina's arm, and with the power of the magic tool, her injuries get healed quite quickly. Later, they return to the Adventurer Guild and present their loot to the receptionist Amma, who is delighted to see the magic stone from a lick because it is quite expensive. As Lost and Sina head to the inn to rest for the night, they find two adventurers arguing with each other in the middle of the road. Lost complains that it seems like all the problematic adventurers are coming to this city, and Sina can see that he is right. Lost is not happy that these people are ruining the vibe of the city, but decides to forget about them and have a nice meal to celebrate their success. As they sit down to eat, Sina asks Lost about the huge pillar in the middle of the city. She asks if it is a monument, but he tells her that he has no idea. He is also curious about the purpose of the pillar, but when he asked the craftsmen about it, they couldn't tell him anything. They only got the blueprint and the money from an agent and have not even seen the real client. Lost has only heard that there is a whole chain of agents to keep the identity of the real client a secret, and he thinks that it is something fishy. He says that instead of wasting time and money on building such useless things, they could build a city wall to keep everyone safe from dangers. Sina says that a wall is not necessary because this city is full of adventurers who can protect the people when it counts. After that, they head to their rooms, and Sina wants to tell Lost that she wants to come over for some Netflix and chill, but she can't bring herself to say it. As she plops on her bed, she begins fidgeting because she missed the chance to slide into his pants yet again. On the other hand, Lost is thinking that it is nice to form a party with someone who values him, and he begins wondering if he will ever get to see the noble girl he saved again. Meanwhile, Lost's former party leader has found a new healer for their group. He introduces the pretty girl named Lyra to his party members, but they are not really happy about another girl joining their group. This irritates Lyra, but the blonde swordsman thinks that with a capable healer in their group, they will certainly be able to take down the Hydra this time. Later that day, the party goes to fight the same old Hydra, which has not yet healed from the injuries it got during their previous fight. The blonde idiot tells Lyra to join him at the front lines while the magician girl will support them from behind. Meanwhile, the purple-haired rogue bitch is going to sneak behind the monster and deal critical hits when it is not looking towards her. He rushes ahead, but Lyra stops him and says that she can't fight on the front lines because she is a healer. Blondie asks what she is talking about because Lost used to do it all the time. Lyra lashes at him, asking if he was really forcing a healer into close combat. Blondie doesn't even get what he did wrong and says that Lost was only good at close combat anyway. He used to run around like crazy, but sometimes he used to land solid hits on the enemies. The purple bitch says that he was the one who cut off the Hydra's head, and Lyra is shocked. Anyway, Blondie tells her to stay back if she can't fight, but asks her if she can at least use antidote spells. Lyra confirms that she can, and Blondie is confident that they will be able to defeat the monster today. On the other hand, Lost and Cena also visit the guild at the end of the day to submit their haul. They have brought more magic stones, and while Alma is glad about the money flow, she also tells Lost to be more careful, as they always seem to head to the middle floors. Lost replies that since they are only a two-man team, they take extra caution. Alma tells him that if he gets more members, the party will be able to perform even better. She suggests they get a warrior or a magician because that would give them more options, and they will make even more money. Lost begins to consider her advice seriously, and Cena is worried that they won't be alone anymore. However, Lost says that they are fine right now, relieving her of her worries. Alma says that is fine too because they are already earning well. She tells Lost that at this rate they can even rent a house, and Cena wants to know more about it. Lost tells her that the parties who have money can rent a house as their base. He begins thinking that his old party had also hired a private house, but he was placed in a room that was worse than even Harry Potter's. Alma pities him for being mistreated to this extent and then tells him that it was a good thing that he got kicked out of the party because it is not doing well right now. At the base of the Lighting Blade party, everyone is seriously injured, and Blondie is throwing a tantrum that they failed to beat the Hydra once again. Lyra is healing the magician who has got severe injuries, and she tells Blondie that they lost because he charged head-on towards the Hydra despite being weak. He yells at her, but she tells him to shut the hell up because she needs to focus. She finishes casting the antidote spell on the magician, while Blondie and Purple come to the conclusion that their team has become weaker ever since Lost left it. They think that he was a good tool who got his job done and didn't even notice when they shorted his payment. Blondie curses him for leaving the party, and Purple reminds this amnesic asshole that he was the one who kicked him out. Blondie is surprised to hear that, but he thinks that the problem can be solved easily by going to Lost and calling him back. The next morning, they go to the Adventurers Guild, where Blondie arrogantly tells Lost that he is here to give him the greatest honor of his life by letting him back into the Lightning Blade party. The entire guild is stunned to hear this, and Lost tries to stop Blondie from yapping about the benefits of returning to the party, but he begins talking about payment issues. He tells Lost that there were some slight miscalculations the last time, but he will be more careful about them from now on. He clings to him, saying that the new healer they got is a useless bitch, and they want him to replace her. Purple is disappointed with the party leader, and she thinks that he is going to be rejected, but then Lost thanks Blondie, shocking her. Cena is also aghast, as she thinks that Lost is going to return to the party, so she runs in front of him and tells Blondie to back off. She clearly tells him that no matter what he says, Lost is not going to join him because he is already in a party. Blondie is confident that Lost will ditch her and asks her to ask the guy himself. Lost tells Blondie that he thanked him just to be polite, but he has no intention of leaving his current party with Cena. Blondie freaks out on hearing this and starts blaming Cena for this. He tells Lost that this girl is definitely scamming him out of his money, and the guild must be in on it too. However, Lost grabs his hand and tells him to keep his girl's name out of his mouth. He says that he has no grudges against Blondie and his party, but if they try to harm his partner, he will never forgive them. He leaves with that, and Cena follows after teasing Blondie. Frustrated, he runs to Amma and tells her to refer him to a new adventurer who is strong enough to fight alongside him. Amma doesn't even want to deal with his shit anymore, but just then, a tall, silver-haired masked knight comes there and asks Blondie if he can join his team. Blondie inspects him from all angles and then decides to test his skill right away. Amma tries to stop him, saying that fighting among adventurers is not allowed, but he tells her to get away because this is just practice. He charges at the masked knight, who swiftly draws his sword and disarms him. Blondie feels embarrassed after being humiliated in front of everyone, but he decides to get the masked guy into his team because he trusts his skill. He asks the masked man his name, and he tells him that it is Seg. Later that day, the innkeeper's daughter tells Lost that he has guests and Sina decides to join him as well. They go downstairs to find that Lyra and the magician girl Armia have come to see him. Armia apologizes for coming to see him so suddenly, even after what happened in the past, and then says that she wants him to help their party just one time. Lost asks her to elaborate, and she explains that Blondie is stuck up on beating the Hydra. Despite a tragic failure last time, he refuses to learn his lesson and doesn't even buy the antidotes to help them. He has hired a new warrior to help him and is planning to challenge the Hydra again. Lost tells them that maybe the new guy is good enough, but Lyra says that they can't be too optimistic because if things turn out bad, someone could die. Lost tells them that he already refused Blondie this morning, and then Sina asks Armia why she wants to help that asshole so badly. Armia says that it is true that Blondie has many flaws, but despite everything, he is her party member and she doesn't want him to die. Sina snaps at this and asks Armia if Lost was not her party member then. She asks if she didn't know that he was being robbed of his money and that it was unfair to kick him out. Armia begins crying as she apologizes, saying that she didn't want to do it either, but she was afraid that if she didn't blame him, she would be the one kicked out. Lyra speaks up for her, saying that Armia has been apologizing to Lost even in her sleep, and asks him to at least accept her apology. Lost approaches Armia and tells her that he has no grudges against her or the party, and she gets really happy. However, he tells her that he is not going to join the party again, breaking her heart. As Armia is about to sink into despair, the innkeeper comes there with some food and begins body-shaming Armia to get her to eat everything. Meanwhile, Lost, Sina, and Lyra talk about the party's condition. Sina asks Lyra if she can get Armia to leave Lightning Blade with her, but she believes that it is not possible, and she has no intention of leaving Armia in such a horrible place on her own either. Lost realizes that Lyra is a kind person, and now he is worried about both of them. Later, the two girls return back to their party, and Lyra is shocked to see Seg, who she knows very well. She corners him, asking what the hell is he doing here, but Seg tries to feign ignorance and tells her that she must be mistaking him for someone else. Lyra knows that Seg is a terrible actor, but she decides not to poke her nose in his business anymore. Soon, their party heads out to face the Hydra once again, and at the same time, Lost and Sina are going to the dungeon. However, Lost can't get the crying face of Armia out of his mind and keeps staring in her direction. Anyway, Lost and Sina enter the dungeon, and Sina shows off her martial art moves as she kills some donkey-pig hybrid monsters with one punch. One of the monsters attacks her from behind, but she swiftly twirls to dodge its attack and then knocks it out with a strong kick to its head. She is proud and Lost gives her a thumbs up as well, but just then, another monster sneaks behind her. Sina notices it in time and defeats it with a precise back kick. She boasts about her strength, saying that she can do this all day, but apparently her stomach can't. It begins growling because, and Lost laughs, telling the embarrassed girl that they should have lunch now. They sit down in a quiet corner to eat, and as they begin eating, Lost tells Sina about the Hydra, which is a powerful monster with thick muscles and sturdy scales that bounce back basic magic and physical attacks. Sina freaks out and wonders if Armia will be safe, but Lost tells her that since the Hydra is a relatively common monster, a lot is known about how to fight it. Its poison is lethal, but the antidote can be purchased from the market. Sina replies that Lyra told them that Blondie didn't purchase the antidote because it was too expensive, and Lost tells her that Lyra will handle that with her detoxifying magic. He asks Sina not to worry too much, because the Lightning Blade party isn't half bad. He says that despite being an asshole, Blondie is a decent swordsman, and Purple is quite agile and stealthy as well. Sina gets jealous on hearing Lost praise his old party, but she doesn't say it out loud. However, as they resume the dungeon exploration, She tells Lost that she has grown bored of exploring the same floors on the dungeon every day, so they should head out to the swamps where the Hydra is found for a change. In the swamps, Lightning Blade is fighting the Hydra. Blondie injures it, and then Seg charges ahead to finish the job. However, he only deals a deep wound to the Hydra and doesn't slash the head. Blondie asks why the hell did he chicken out, but Seg strokes his ego, asking if he is going to let someone else take the glory of defeating the Hydra. That was all Blondie needed to forget the plan and charge straight at the Hydra, but that backfires as the monster tackles him. In the meantime, Lyra finishes healing Purple, who immediately rushes towards the Hydra. Lyra is low-key disappointed by how this party runs. Seg can't be fully trusted, and Blondie is an idiot. However, she sees that the Hydra is tired, and their attacks are working. Even Armia is spamming fireballs, and Lyra thinks that they will win at this rate. Suddenly, the Hydra flicks a rock towards Armia, knocking her down, and as it approaches her, she gets overwhelmed by fear. Suddenly, a black smoke begins releasing from her body, and Seg identifies it as fear that monsters use to grow stronger. Lyra believes that it is something else because naturally people can't see fear, but as she touches the black smoke that is flying towards the Hydra from all directions, she realizes that it is mana. She tells everyone that monsters can mutate after absorbing mana, and the same happens with the Hydra. It evolves into a more powerful version, and even its severed heads grow back. Seg knows how dangerous this monster can be, so he says that they should retreat, but Blondie is still hooked on the glory he will get after killing the Hydra. He attacks it, but his sword snaps in two on hitting the Hydra's scales. He is completely defenseless as the Hydra attacks him, but then out of nowhere, Lost arrives there and parries the attack. Seg tells Lost to go and help Armia while he deals with the monster here. Lost agrees and goes to Lyra, who is trying to help Armia, but that is hard because magicians are resistant to magic and healing spells don't work too well on them either. Lost takes up the task and begins spamming the basic healing spell. Lyra is perplexed and asks what the hell is he doing, and his former party members tell her that he is overlapping the healing spells because that is how he healed them in the past. Lyra says that it is not possible because it's like drinking a bottle of cough syrup and hoping that the coughing is cured instantly. However, Lost makes this seemingly impossible method work, and Armia wakes up before immediately going back to sleep. Soon after that, Lost and Cena join the fight along with Seg. Cena attacks the Hydra's head, and then Lost slashes it to create a weak spot. After that, Seg charges ahead with his magic sword, and slices the Hydra's head with one swing of his blade. As the fight continues, the Hydra takes Cena by surprise and knocks her out. It keeps her as a hostage to challenge Lost to a one-on-one fight, because after evolution, it has grown more intelligent, and it remembers that Lost was the one who cut its heads. Lost takes up the monster's challenge, only to get humbled within seconds. He gets seriously injured and falls to the ground. However, he suddenly wakes up again, his body overflowing with magic. Everyone is taken aback on seeing Lost as he looks like he has been possessed by a demon. A horn protrudes from his forehead, and he cuts all the heads of the Hydra in a single move, easily defeating it. Everyone is stunned to see this, but then Lost suddenly returns to normal and collapses. He wakes up later with Cena by his side, who tells him that Lyra healed him with the only antidote she had bought. Lyra and Seg have questions about the power Lost just displayed, but before they can say anything, Blondie and Purple begin praising Lost, saying that he is really amazing. They flatter him to get him back, and even offer to split the money from this mission evenly between the three of them. Blondie and Purple say that the two newcomers didn't do much, so they don't get a cut, and ask Lost to keep his sidekick satisfied somehow. He asks them about Armia's share, and they say that she is no longer of any use, so they don't consider her a member of their party. They go as far as saying that maybe they should sell her to some rich pervert, and the very next moment, Cena deals a solid punch to Blondie's face. He freaks out and says that he will complain to the guild because attacking other adventurers is banned, and he has witnesses. However, Seg decides to shut him up for good, and says that they were talking about selling Armia to some rich perverted noble, and that is a very serious crime. He says that they are under arrest with immediate effect, and everyone learns the truth only when they get back to the guild. Seg is actually a high-ranking adventurer who works at the guild headquarters in the capital. Everyone is shocked to hear this, and Seg takes off his mask as he explains that it is the duty of elite adventurers to maintain law and order among others. He had heard that things in this city were pretty bad because of some ill-behaved adventurers, so he came here for an undercover investigation. Lyra asks what is going to happen to Blondie and Purple now, and the receptionist Alma says that they will be expelled from the Adventurers Guild and possibly be thrown in jail for life. They freak out on hearing this and tell Seg that since they haven't done anything, they should be set free. They even offer to pay him, but he doesn't pay them any attention. Suddenly, Lost asks to talk in private with Seg. They go outside, where Lost requests Seg to let Purple and Blondie go this time, because deep down, he believes Purple and Blondie are not that people. He wants to give them a second chance so that they can continue to be adventurers and atone for their mistakes. Seg decides to accept his request and frees the two culprits, but tells them to get as far away from this town as possible, because if he finds them again, they are going to prison. They run away, and then Alma asks Seg if it is right to let them go. He replies that firing them from the guild may not make them better people, but if they can monitor them, there is still hope. For that purpose, he decides to stay in the town for some time. Later that night, Seg tells Lyra that his real mission here is to investigate the growing number of mutating monsters in this area, and he suspects the guild branch's chief to be behind it. He asks Lyra to form a party with him like the old times, and she says that she will only do so if he lets Armia join them as well, because she can't just abandon her. Seg agrees to her request, and then says that he can do with another ally, because he plans to keep an eye on Lost and his strange power as well. Soon, Seg and his party meet Lost and Cena over brunch. Lost is surprised to hear that they formed a party with just 3 people and asks Armia if she is fine with joining their party. She timidly replies that she has nowhere else to go and Seg and Lyra saved her life, so she owes them a lot. Lost and Seg assure him that they told her that it was not something to beat herself over, but Armia still chose them, and Lost is glad to hear that. After that, Cena and Lost head out to the guild to cash in the Hydra's magic stone. Besides that, Lost also wants Cena to pick up a designated quest today because hunting monsters won't get her too far as an adventurer, and doing quests will pay her better and even help her build connections. Cena is moved that Lost is thinking so much about her, and when he asks her if something is wrong, she turns red out of embarrassment. They reach the guild soon, where everyone gazes at them with distrust and suspicion. Apparently, the rumors of Lost defeating the Hydra have reached everyone, and no one can believe that it is true. He immediately pulls Cena to a corner and tells her to be more careful now, because many bad people will try to steal the Hydra magic stones from them. Just as he finishes saying that, an adventurer named Marnell comes there to talk with him. Lost is on his guard, and the idiot thinks that he is nervous because of his lackeys, so he sends them away. Lost and Cena don't know what to make of it, but they think that Marnell is not after their magic stones. Marnell turns towards Lost and immediately apologizes to him, taking him by surprise. He says that he is apologizing about Blondie's actions, and the fact that all the adventurers in the town knew what a scumbag he was, but no one warned Lost about it. Marnell says that he tried to convince himself that it was none of his business, but now he regrets it. He apologizes for not helping Lost when he should have, and suddenly, Cena comes between them and tells Marnell that he won't be forgiven so easily. He asks her what should he do to earn Lost's apology, and she tells him to kneel before him for 3 days straight. Marnell and the other adventurers freak out on hearing this, but Lost asks her to stop because he doesn't want to be painted as the bad guy here. He says that he doesn't want to dig up the past, and then adds that even after defeating the Hydra, he is still incompetent as a healer. He stretches his hand towards Marnell so that they can be on better terms from now on, and the veteran adventurer gladly shakes it. He tells Lost to contact him if he ever needs help, and then goes back to his party. After that, Lost and Cena head to the receptionist's desk to hand over the Hydra's magic stone, and Alma practically drools as she sees the magic stone that is enough to turn them all into millionaires. She says that the Hydra's difficulty level was already high, and since it mutated, the price of its magic stone increased by a lot. However, that is also a warning that a disaster may soon occur because monsters require a tremendous amount of mana to mutate. Usually that happens in the deeper floors of the dungeon, but if it happened on the surface, then it means that an unnatural amount of mana is leaking from the dungeon. Cena asks if the guild can't do anything like sending a team to investigate the matter, when suddenly, Alma's superior Han arrives there. She freaks out as she hears his voice and tells her that her adventurers had a suggestion. Han tells her that he will hear them out directly and calls them to his office. He receives the report about the Hydra's mutation and high-level monsters being found on top floors of the dungeon, and says that things like this have happened before, so they are not exactly unusual. He says that the guild doesn't have enough time or resources to deploy investigation teams anytime things like this happen. Lost tries convincing him that the guild should ensure the safety of its adventurers, but Han tells him that the adventurers knew the risks when they got into this line of work, and those like Lost, who are afraid of monsters, should leave the town immediately. Once they come out of the office, Sina vents out all the frustration she got from spending 5 minutes with Han. She asks who the hell is he to tell Lost to leave the town, and Amma tells her that he is the highest acting authority in the guild. The guild leader is really old and stays in his room all day, and being his left nut, Han is the one who oversees everything. Lost changes the topic and asks Amma to give some quests to Sina. She shows them all the quest requests they have, and Sina starts complaining because most of them aren't even real work. Lost soon finds a quest to hunt down a phoenix near the teleportation circles in the dungeon, and Sina eagerly says that they will take it. Amma advises her to stop thinking about it because with just a healer and a martial artist, they won't be able to take down a flying enemy. Lost and Sina immediately think of asking Seg's party for help and soon reach their base. Seg and Lyra agree, but Armia thinks that Lost will not like to be in the same party with her after all that she has done to him. Lost tells her not to think too much about it because he has forgiven her already. Everyone is on the same page now, and while Seg goes to the guild to handle the paperwork, others go to the market to buy some supplies. Lost tells Sina that they need to buy some potions to take care of the burns they receive from fighting the Phoenix. She says that he is really knowledgeable in all fields, but that suddenly makes her feel incompetent. She begins zoning out in the middle of the road, when suddenly, a girl comes from behind and gropes her. Sina frees herself and throws a punch at her, but the redhead does some acrobatics and dodges her attack. Sina is taken aback when she realizes that the person she thought of as a lesbian molester was actually Ralma, a veteran adventurer who is her dad's friend. She realizes that her dad sent the redhead mommy after her because he was worried about his daughter who ran away from the house. Just then, Lost comes there, and both he and Ralma are shocked to see each other because they know each other well. Lost greets her as his master, and Sina is perplexed by what is happening. They go to a restaurant, where Lost explains that he received training from Ralma for a short period of time. Sina also tells him that her father and Ralma are friends, and he sent her here to check on her. Ralma then tells Lost to leave them alone because she has some private things to talk with Sina, but he refuses, saying that he is Sina's party member, so he should get to know everything. Also, he thinks that Ralma may try to take Sina back with her using force, and he won't let her. Ralma takes that as a challenge and asks if he thinks he can stop her. She shoots a small fireball at him, but he dodges it with his ultra instinct. Ralma is improved by Lost's improvement and allows him to stay. She then asks Sina why she ran from her home, and she says that she didn't run away. She claims that she was in a hurry so she couldn't say goodbye to her parents, but she left a letter telling them that she was going to find Lost. Both Lost and Ralma are dumbfounded on hearing that, and then Ralma asks her the reason. Sina suddenly goes silent and hides her face because she doesn't want to tell Lost that she had her men spying on him, and when she learned that he was kicked from his party, she rushed to him immediately. Lost tells her that she should go back home and talk things out with her dad, but she is worried that he won't allow her to return to his side. She is in tears, so Ralma tells her that her dad is not opposed to her being an adventurer, but he was just worried about her leaving home so suddenly. She assures Sina that she will talk to her dad and explain that she is in safe hands with Lost. She then suddenly sends Lost to fetch some drinks while she pokes Sina about her relationship with Lost. Sina begins talking about how great Lost is, and then suddenly starts crying, thinking that she is a burden to him. Ralma tells her that she has definitely had a positive impact on him, because earlier, he would not have dared to talk back to her in any case. She tells Sina that she changed him for good, and she should spend more time with him. Soon after that, Lost and Sina, as well as Seg's party, teleport to the dungeon to face the Phoenix. Sina is already on her guard, and is surprised when the Phoenix is not present in the teleportation room. Lost tells her that Phoenixes come in various sizes, but they are all quite big, and the door to this room is too small for them to enter. They begin exploring the area nearby, and come to an open space with a high ceiling and a lot of pillars. It is exactly the place where the Phoenix would be, and Lyra says that they just have to wait now. She then explains that this is a newly discovered area of the dungeon, and that means treasures and riches here will belong to the first person who finds them. Sina and Armia are very excited to hear that, but Seg tells them that it is also really dangerous. Lyra adds that because the phoenix was blocking the newly discovered path, the adventurers could not go inside to explore it. That is why they requested the guild to issue a quest regarding the same, and the reward is also very high because of that. In the meantime, Lost finds some burn marks on the ground and thinks that they are quite near. He picks up a rock and hurls it into the corridor, explaining that phoenixes are territorial monsters, and if they find someone near their home, they will attack them first. Just as he finishes saying this, a portal opens above them, and a blazing phoenix comes out of it. At the same time, the redhead mommy Ralma enters the guild, and as soon as Amma lays eyes on her, she rushes to greet her. She flatters her, because she could tell that even though all of Ralma's accessories look cheap, they are the highest quality magic items, which means she is an elite adventurer. She cannot let someone else take this chance, and immediately asks Ralma how can she help her. However, when the redhead says that she is here to meet the branch president, Amma is taken aback. She asks her if she has an appointment or a recommendation letter, but Ralma denies that and claims that she is not even someone whom the branch president is close with. She declares that Loki wants to kill that old fossil, and Amma immediately tells her that she can't let her see the branch president in that case. She calls Ralma an idiot for wasting her time, and the redhead decides to force her way. She summons a fireball, and Amma immediately hides behind the counter. Luckily, Han arrives there just in time to stop Ralma, and tells Amma that she is the legendary adventurer called Fire God, and she should be glad that it was not that time of the month, or she would have burned the entire guild. Han takes Ralma to his office, and like Lost, she is also concerned about the abnormalities in the dungeon and wants the guild to investigate it. She clearly thinks that the guild president is up to no good, because there are numerous thugs posing as adventurers in the city, and there are mysterious white pillars all around the place as well. Han tells her that she can't blame them without any proof, and claims that he has no idea about the pillars, and the adventurers came to this city because it gives them opportunity. Ralma calls it cap, because the guild branch president holds the greatest authority over a dungeon city, and she won't believe that he doesn't know about anything. She believes that the branch president brought in the nasty adventurers on purpose, because something big is going to happen, and they want to make sure that no one misses the adventurers who die while fighting it. Han asks her to be clear about what she means, and she tells him that she is talking about a dungeon rampage. Back in the dungeon, the Phoenix stays high up in the air and constantly bombards Lost's group with fireballs, making them unable to do anything but seek shelter behind rocks. They think that the Phoenix is trying to get them to flee, and not aiming to kill them, which is surprising. Seg says that they can't turn back now, and asks Armia to use a wide area water attack on the bird's wings. She is nervous, and Seg understands that is because casting a magic powerful enough to damage the Phoenix will take time, but he promises to protect her and then kill the Phoenix with his sword. Sina and Lost say they will also keep her safe, and after their assurance, they begin running around to lure the Phoenix away. Once it is gone, Armia steps out and begins preparing her spell. She creates a water arrow and shoots it at the Phoenix, injuring one of its wings. It falls to the ground, and Seg stabs it with his magic sword, but the wound is not deep enough to finish it. The Phoenix is still alive, although severely injured, and Lost says that if they keep at it, they can defeat it. However, the Phoenix begins absorbing mana from its surroundings and starts mutating. It becomes bigger, more ferocious, and its flames turn blue. Lost and others are shocked to see a rare event like mutation happen twice within a week, and Armia is terrified. She gives in to fear, and Lyra fears that the Phoenix will feed on her fear to become even stronger. The Phoenix also decides to deal with her first and shoots a fireball at her, but Seg quickly comes in clutch and slashes the fireball. The Phoenix starts spamming fireballs, but Seg parries them all as he tells Armia to stand up because they need her help to defeat it. Lyra stretches her arm to help her up, but Armia stands up on her own, full of confidence to overcome her fears and grow stronger. The Phoenix attacks them again, and this time, Sina punches it with all her strength. Her punch doesn't hurt the Phoenix, but her hand catches fire, and Lost has to defend her from the Phoenix's next attack. His sword melts in doing so, but he buys enough time for Armia to unleash her most powerful spell. She creates a giant ice arrow and shoots the Phoenix with it, bringing it down. However, before Seg can have a chance to attack, the Phoenix files away from his range. Sina is not going to let that happen, and she climbs as high as she can and then drops on the phoenix, kicking it with the power of Kai. She tells Lost this is his chance, and he rushes in to stab the phoenix in the head with his dagger. The phoenix vanishes with that, and everyone gathers around Armia to give her the credit of this victory. She begins crying as she thanks everyone, and then picks up the magic stone of the defeated phoenix. Soon after that, they return to the city, and find Ralma waiting for them at the inn. Lost goes to her and asks why is she still here, and she tells him that she heard that her stupid disciple had gone to hunt a phoenix, so she was waiting to see if he comes back alive or not. Lost asks who told her that, and Ralma struggles to remember Amma's name, but says that she gave that girl some money, and she obediently told her everything. Lost grabs his head as he imagines the scenario, and then Ralma says that it looks like they succeeded in their mission. She says that not only did they get the magic crystal from a phoenix, but also the bounty from the quest, and asks Lost to treat her to dinner with that money. They sit down to eat some soup, and Sina says it is quite different from what she has at home. Ralma says that it is just cheap meat they boil for longer time to get the flavor out. Anyway, Ralma tells Sina to enjoy this food because she won't get it at her mansion. Armia is curious about that, and Ralma realizes no one here knows her true identity. She reveals that Sina is actually the daughter of Earl and Elstria, freaking everyone out. Sina is embarrassed now, and then suddenly, Lost remembers that the girl he saved in the past was from the Elstria family too. He finally pieces all the information together and realizes that the girl whom he saved that day was Sina. On the other hand, Han goes to the branch president to tell him about another mutation, and also informs him that Ralma is here to meddle in their business. A faint smile spreads on the old man's face as he hears her name, because she is actually her student. Later, as Lost and Sina head to the guild to collect their reward for hunting the phoenix and bringing its mutated magic stone, they are shocked to receive just a small pouch of money. Sina begins acting like a Karen, tells Amma that this amount is too little and she wants to talk to the manager about it. In response, Amma just smirks and tells her to at least check the contents of the pouch before bitching and whining about it. Sina reluctantly opens the pouch, and the gleam of the golden coins inside it almost blinds her. Amma tells her that the reward for the quest and the magic stone was too much to be handed out in the form of copper or silver coins, so she had to take her time and arrange the gold coins for them. Sina is still shocked, but then Lost tells her to quickly take the money. He leaves 3 silver coins as Amma's tip, and she is more than happy about it. Lost then walks away, looking displeased by something, and Amma asks Sina if he is upset because she didn't let him hit, but she is also clueless about it. Soon, Lost and Sina go to the marketplace, where a bard is telling the story of the evil dragon that awakens in the dungeon every 200 years, and the hero who defeats it and keeps everyone safe. A little away from them, Lost is sitting on a table and Sina brings some food for them to eat. He still seems to be lost in thoughts, and then Sina suddenly suggests that they buy a private house for their party because they have enough money now. Lost is taken aback by this and says that they need to properly think about it. Sina says that she has done her research because she was interested in getting a house for just the 2 of them after the first time Amma mentioned it. She is confident that they can buy a house now, but Lost seems unsure. He asks Sina if she has any problem with the inn they are staying at right now, and she says that she is perfectly comfortable at the inn. However, she finds it too busy and crowded all the time, and she wants to spend some time alone with Lost. Obviously, she doesn't tell him about the second part, and begins imagining their life in a quiet house away from the noise of the city. She thinks that they would talk a lot because obviously there is no other way to kill time, and that will eventually lead to some Netflix and chill. Sina begins to act like an idiot as she imagines Lost rearranging her guts, but he shatters her dream by saying that they should save money right now. On top of that, they have to consider another thing. After their success in defeating the Phoenix, Seg told them they should form a party together, and Lost is seriously considering that. Sina isn't pleased by this idea, and asks Lost if he is really planning to form a party with them. He affirms, saying that in terms of combat strength, they should not let this chance go away, as Seg is a top-notch adventurer. He says that if they are going to venture deeper into the dungeon, they will need his help, but Sina mumbles that she doesn't care even if they don't go deep as long as it is just the 2 of them. To cover her tracks, she nervously smiles and tells Lost that if he wants to form a party with Seg and others, she also agrees. At night, Lost and Sina meet Seg and the girls, and officially announce that they will be forming a party with them. They celebrate this occasion with delicious food and drinks, and Armia gets sleepy while eating. Lyra decides to take her to her room, and Sina follows her because she needs to discuss something with her. Once they reach the room, Sina talks about what happened in the day, and Lyra freaks out that this thirsty hoe threw herself at Lost by telling him that she wants to live together with him, but he didn't get the hint. She tells Sina that maybe Lost likes taking her time with things, and she should try to understand his nature more before making another move. Sina suddenly gets excited, saying that she was right in coming to Lyra for advice, because it seems she has had a lot of romantic experiences, but Lyra only wishes that were true. Downstairs, Lost talks about that to Saig, who calls him an idiot sandwich for refusing Sina's request. He begins to corner Lost with his words and asks if he likes Sina or not. Lost turns red as he begins to ponder the answer, and Saig realizes that he is not good at expressing his feelings. Upstairs, Lyra is saying the same thing about Saig, whom she likes, but that idiot never gets a hint. She begins telling Sina about how they were in the same party in the capital, but then Armia also wakes up to listen to the girl gossip. Lyra says that she always had men lusting after her, and a few even joined her party to get close to her. One day, while Saig was away, one of them tried to force himself on her. She quickly knocked that pervert out and called it a day, but Saig was furious that someone tried to harm her. He kicked that man out of the city, and then vanished himself too. Lyra knows that the blockhead thought she must be angry at him for letting the pervert into the party, but she never thought of it like that. She gets furious that he vanished after that incident without considering her feelings, and then suddenly, the innkeeper's daughter comes there and asks her if she likes Saig. Downstairs, Saig has just finished reciting his side of the same story to Lost, and then he returns back to the original topic. He asks him why did he refuse to move in with Sina if he likes her, and Lost replies that he wanted to know something else before making a decision. Just then, Amma comes there with an investigation report Lost had requested, and he tells her that she came right on time because he was just talking about it with Saig. Lost had asked Amma to run a background check on Sina, and she tells him that Sina is the only daughter of Earl and Elstria. She is the heir to the title and property, and naturally, her father was against her becoming an adventurer until a certain incident happened. One day, Sina's hair suddenly turned blue without an explanation, and her father no longer opposed her being an adventurer. Lost is confused, and Saig says maybe the blue hair was a symptom of some disease that would make Sina live only for a short time. Amma shoots down that suggestion because a girl who can fight against a phoenix can't be sick. She concludes her report by telling Lost that Sina became an adventurer with her parents' permission, so he has nothing to worry about. She immediately asks for her payment, and Lost gives her a huge sum. After Amma goes, Lost says that he wants Sina to go back to her house and talk to her parents properly. If she still wants to be an adventurer after that, he will help her out. Back in the room, the girls have shared their stories, and Lyra says that she is jealous of how bold Sina is. That gives the girl an idea, and they immediately head downstairs and push Lyra towards Saig. She nervously asks him if they can talk in private, and the clueless Saig agrees. Soon, all the guests go home, and only Lyra and Saig are left there. While she tries to convey her feelings to him, Sina and the girls keep watch from the door, and Lost has no idea what is happening. On the other side of the door, Lyra tells Saig that she doesn't want to be just his adventuring partner, but his life partner, and this brickhead takes 2 full minutes to process that. Once he realizes that Lyra means, he turns red. He tells Lyra that he will think about it, and she initially lashes at him, but then tells him to take his time because she is sure that he has never thought about things like love before, so this is definitely progress. After hearing this, Lost also gets some courage, and he asks Sina if she has some time tomorrow because he would like to talk to her about something very important. Sina is taken aback by this, but then she smiles as she says that she always has time for him. The next day, as they are all in the inn, Sina is completely spaced out. She forgets eating midway, and when Armia tries to bring her back to her senses, she asks if she wants her sausage. Lost, Lyra, and Saig are on the next table, and they know that Sina is acting like this because of what Lost told her yesterday. He didn't even tell her the time and place to talk about the important thing, and he is the reason for her brain cells going on a vacation. Suddenly, they hear Armia trying to stop Sina from eating a flower instead of food, and both Lyra and Saig tell Lost to hurry before she does anything more stupid. He walks up to her and says that they should talk now, But just as he is about to get down to business, the door suddenly opens and a young adventurer named Keith collapses on the floor. Everyone rushes to his aid, and then Lost gives him some treatment before leaving him to rest. He comes out of the room to tell Sina and Armia that the boy is fine, and Lyra is taking care of him along with the innkeeper's daughter Sheila. Sina asks what business Sheila has with the boy, and her mother comes there to tell them that the boy named Keith is her daughter's childhood friend. He is an orphan, so she helped him grow up, and like all the orphans of the dungeon city, he became an adventurer. She says that he seemed really happy about joining a party the other day, and today he has returned like this. Lost gets angry on hearing this, and tells Sina that he will talk about the important matter later because right now he has to go to the Adventurers Guild. Turns out that the party that Keith joined used him as a decoy to distract orcs in the dungeon. They pushed him towards the orcs to run away, and Lost could sense that from his experience. By the time he reaches the guild, some adventurers have captured the bastards that treated Keith like a disposable. They ask Lost how he wants to punish them because he was the one who asked them to capture them. Lost says that he will let them live, but not in this city. The adventurers threaten the bastards to never step foot in the city again if they value their lives as they free them, and they all run away from the guild. Just then, Alma comes there and she says that she is disappointed at them for taking the matter in their hands, because she had orders from above to feign ignorance about this matter. The adventurers are pissed and ask what the guild is doing, when suddenly, Han comes there and asks the same question to them. He asks how dare they not inform the guild about this matter first and dish out the punishment themselves. The adventurers are furious at him and tell him to come downstairs so that they can beat his ass, but Lost tells them that it won't change anything. He decides to go and negotiate with Han and tells him everything that happened. Han says he had no idea about that, and Lost lashes out at him, asking why is the guild of this city so useless. He says that the dungeon orphans are treated poorly everywhere, but in other cities, the guilds at least try to implement measures to stop that. Han simply tells him that if he hates this city, he should leave it and go someplace that has safety measures. He told him that no one forces anyone to become adventurers, and if they die, it is on them and not the guild. Lost can't come up with a comeback for that, and then Han tells him that once a wise man said that those who become adventurers know that they are risking their lives, and the incompetent ones often die. He then suddenly shows Lost a scar on his arm, asking if he doesn't already know that quote. On seeing his scar, Lost is shocked because that exact scar was given to someone he used to know a long time ago. Many years prior, Han was called Noxum, and he was a dungeon orphan in this city, who worked as a porter for the adventurers. They treated him like shit and threw their stuff at him, telling him that he was only good enough to carry it. Lost was in the same party as a porter, and he offered to help Han, but he was bitter and refused to take anyone's pity. At night, while the adventurers partied, Lost and Han kept watch. Later, Han fell asleep, but Lost woke him up to tell him that there were goblins near them. They alerted the adventurers about the situation, but on seeing that there were far too many goblins for them to handle, they decided to use the plan they had always had in the back of their mind. They threw Lost and Han down the cliff to act as bait, and Han was mad. Lost told him to save his rage for later, and they decided to fight their way out of the situation. They managed to defeat some goblins and hide behind trees, and Han said that everyone calls them useless, but at least they managed to be good baits to help the others escape. Lost replied that the others won't be able to escape, because goblins pretend to hunt enemies who are in larger groups, and if they hide just a bit longer, they will attack their party. The exact thing happened soon, and Han smirked as he said that they should use this chance to escape. Lost told him that he wants to save them even though they betrayed them. However, Han could not keep up with him because of a deep wound on his arm. Lost began healing him, and Han was shocked because he should be using this chance to run away. He told him that adventurers are always in danger and the incompetent ones die. But as a healer, Lost was not willing to leave any injured person behind, and he told Han that there is always redemption for people as weak as them too. Back to the present, Han tells Lost that he helped him survive that day, and they lost contact after returning to the city. Things happened, and he eventually became the disciple and the right-hand man of the guild president. He thanks Lost for saving his life, and says that it is his way of returning the favor by telling him to take Sina and leave the town. Lost goes downstairs and tells everyone that he failed, when Alma comes there to call him and the guy named Marnell to talk in private. She tells them that there are many people in the guild who oppose the way the guild president and Han are doing things, but they can't come out in the open. That is why she is going to become the source of communication between such people so that they can protect the town from the growing number of monsters, since the guild president isn't doing anything at all. She even decides to cut down on her commission so that the adventurers get a better price for their hard work. And both Han and Marnell find that a hard pill to swallow. After that, Lost goes to the inn and tells Sina about what happened at the guild. He asks if she is fine with some extra work, and she tells him that she will be glad to do it if it means protecting the city. After that, they go to the backyard where they find Seg training the orphans to use swords. The injured boy named Keith is already back on his feet, and Lyra says that he was quite resilient, which is why he recovered quickly. Seg stops his training and then tells Sina to take over. She begins training the kids in martial arts, because swords cost money, but throwing punches is free. Speaking about Sina, Lyra suddenly asks Lost if he told her what he was planning to. He stammers as he says that the timing doesn't seem right. Lyra is angry at him, but Seg believes that everything will work out because Sina has returned to normal now. On the other hand, Han delivers a letter from the country's prime minister to the guild president Mist. The letter tells him to keep an eye on Sina because she is the sleeping beauty. Han asks the old man if Sina is really so important that even the Prime Minister always wants to keep an eye on her, and Mist affirms. He asks Han if he has heard the story about the Sleeping Beauty who sacrifices herself to seal the evil dragon and help the hero defeat it. Han says that every child has heard the story, and then Mist tells him that the story is completely true, and the blue-colored hair of Sina are proof that she is the chosen one. She is the only hope of the world against the evil dragon, and that is why they must keep her safe at all costs. A couple days later, Lost and his party head to the plains outside the city, and they find a huge group of goblins heading towards the city. They begin wondering if they should ambush them or try to attack them from a distance using magic, but Lost suggests that they should fight them head-on. He reasons that for the safety of the people in their city, they should kill all the goblins, and fighting them head-on is the only option to do that. If they ambush them or attack them from a distance, the goblins may escape, and they do not want to let that happen. Sieg and others agree with his plan, and they go to fight the goblins. Surprisingly, they find an old abandoned carriage by the roadside, and Lost and Sina realize that this is the same place where they first met. They don't have any time to get nostalgic about it, because the goblins are already there. The goblins charge at them, and Sina sends one of them flying with her punches, while Lost deals with another. They both think about how they were weak and helpless back then, but things have changed a lot now, and they have each other's backs. They manage to defeat the goblins quickly, but then suddenly, the ground starts shaking. Lost has seen something like this before, and he warns everyone that it will only get worse. The earthquake becomes even more intense, rattling the entire city. After that, they head back to the inn to find that it is a mess because of the earthquake, but luckily, they didn't take any major damage. Lost is relieved to hear that. And then suddenly, an adventurer comes running, saying that Marnell wants to see him immediately. Lost asks if anything happened at the guild, but the man tells him that Marnell is waiting for him at the city border instead. They immediately go to Marnell's location, and to their shock, there is a huge horde of goblins there, including some stronger hobgoblins. Marnell says that he wanted to fight them to protect the city, but he can't handle all of them by himself. He knew that going to the guild was a waste of time, and Lost was the only one they could count on. He says that there might not be enough money in the job, but Lost says that they will take it to keep the city safe. They charge at the goblins, easily defeating them with one hit, and Lost goes to fight their boss. He slashes off one arm of the hobgoblin, who suddenly starts speaking. He curses Lost and says he will definitely kill him, and then all the goblins begin chanting death threats as well. Everyone is dumbfounded by this because monsters are not supposed to talk like humans, and not even Sieg knows anything about it. Lost says that they should not let this fact disturb them, because their mission is still the same. He tells everyone to take down the goblins, and they finish the job quickly. The hobgoblin lasts the longest, and as he is about to die, he tells Lost and others that their struggles are pointless because in the end, all humans will die. It vanishes with that, and Lost can tell that it was mutated from the magic crystal. However, mutation cannot make monsters intelligent to speak. Suddenly, another adventurer comes running there, yelling that they have an emergency. Lost and his party go to the dungeon, where a huge army of goblins has started coming out from the depths of Earth. Sieg says that this is too much for their party to handle alone, and Lost agrees. He says that they should retreat and gather all the adventurers of their city to repel the monsters, But as they reach the guild, they find a shockingly huge queue of people outside. Amma tells them that the guild has issued a bounty on the monsters that have escaped the dungeon, but the amount is higher than even the phoenix. Everyone thinks that it is suspicious, and Amma tells them that the guild is even paying a part of the reward in advance despite knowing that some bastards will take the money and run away. Lost realizes that this must be Han's doing, and that means that they can't even reason with him to stop them. Marnell says that this is not a bad thing because they wanted the help of all the adventurers to protect the city anyway. Lost agrees, but he wonders if Han really prepared this huge amount of money on a short notice. Suddenly, the redhead mommy Ralma arrives there and says that Han must have been planning for this from the beginning. Everyone is shocked to see that she is still in the city, and then Lost asks her if she also knew that such a huge outbreak of monsters would happen. He asks her if this is what they call a dungeon rampage, and Ralma affirms. Amma says that she has heard about it too, and she pulls out some old documents that talk about it. A dungeon rampage occurs when there is too much mana inside a dungeon, and it produces a huge number of monsters that rush to the surface. Usually, the rampages end within a day, but sometimes they can last for several days, and the human adventurers can't keep up with the unending monster waves, and the cities near the dungeons are turned into ruins. To stop a dungeon rampage, all the monsters need to be killed, and the dungeon should be given time to produce more monsters so that it can run out of excess energy. Amma says that the guilds were formed to keep the magic gathering in the dungeons under control, but it was never really their focus. Ralma says that it is obvious because the last dungeon rampage was 100 years ago, and people tend to forget about things as time passes. Marnell says that it seems odd because their dungeon is one of the largest ones around, and a huge number of adventurers go into it every day. Lost agrees, saying that their dungeon shouldn't have excess mana, but Ralma tells him to play Sherlock Holmes later, because right now, they need to deal with the rampage. The people start to evacuate the city in the odd case that the monster waves can't be contained. While the adventurers help them load the stuff, Keith and other boys say that they will also fight on the front lines. Marnell tells them that they are 10 years too young for that, and says that if they want to help, they can act as messengers and patrollers, because that is a very valuable role too. The boys agree to his suggestion, and they decide to help the fighters in other ways. And Lost comes to Marnell to talk about how they were once like these kids as well. Soon, the monsters invade the city, and all the adventurers fight them, most of them for the handsome reward promised to them. The level of monsters starts to rise suddenly, and even mid-level monsters start to come out. To make matters worse, some licks fly around the sky in broad daylight, and Sieg says that they must have mutated. The monsters keep on saying that they will kill all humans, but Ralma blasts them away with her powerful fire magic. Everyone else joins the fight, and they manage to clear the first monster wave. However, there is no time to relax because the next wave is already in front of them, and Ralma decides to take a break for no reason. Lost and Sieg decide to fight together on the front lines, but even skilled fighters like them start having troubles while dealing with the huge number of enemies. Suddenly, Sieg slips on a log, and a minotaur is going to pound him hard, when someone attacks it and kills it in one hit. A voice tells Sieg that he is still lacking a lot, because he can't even use the magic sword he gave him properly. The man then quickly destroys all the monsters and reveals himself to a blonde knight with round glasses. Lost recognizes this knight as Ronaldo, who once taught him swordsmanship. Not only that, Sina says that he taught her some sword skills as well, but she decided to opt for martial arts instead. Everyone is surprised to see him, and then Ralma comes there, lashing at Ronaldo for being late. He taunts her, calling her the furious fire devil, and she attacks him for that. Ronaldo easily blocks her attack, and says that they can talk later because he needs to deal with the monsters first. He rushes towards the monsters, blitzing them with his speed. As Ralma remembers the time they used to be a team, Han suddenly arrives there using the anywhere door. He tells Ralma that the guild president wants to meet her. The redhead is angry that the old bastard was hiding using such an advanced magic so that no one could find him. She decides to go with Han because Ronaldo can handle things here. And then Han says that he wants Lost and Sina to come along too. They don't understand anything, and as they go to meet the old man named Mist, Lost tells Sina that he will protect her if anything happens. Ralma immediately warns him not to do anything stupid, because even at her full power, she is no match for Mist. However, once they reach the old man, Ralma is the first one to attack him. Her attacks don't even scratch him, and he asks her if this is how she will treat her master. As the smoke clears, Lost and Sina see that Mist is actually an old elf, and Lost still can't process that he is his master's master. Ralma tells him that elves are the best species when it comes to manipulating magic, and someone like Mist, who has lived for 600 years, is much, much better than her. Lost and Sina find that really hard to digest, and then the old elf stares at Sina, suddenly making her nervous. Meanwhile, Ralma asks the old man why did he summon her here now when he has not made any sort of contact with her in a long time. She asks him what was he plotting while hiding here, and Mist says that it breaks her heart to see how she talks to her master. He turns to Han, who politely bows before him, and Ralma asks if this guy is his latest student. Mist says that unfortunately Han has no talent for magic, so he couldn't teach him anything. Han intervenes, saying that he may have not learnt magic, but he learnt a lot of other valuable things from Mist, so he is really grateful to be his student. The old elf asks Ralma to learn something from him, but she just dismisses them both. After that, they sit down for a discussion, and Ralma asks Mist to admit that he brought the nasty adventurers to this city on purpose so that he could give them money and force them to fight against the monster stampede in times like this. She has guessed that Han used to tell other adventurers to leave the city if they were dissatisfied because it was his way to let the good guys get away from the danger. She asks Mist if he knew that the dungeon rampage would happen soon, and he affirms, asking if she didn't see the signs. Lost says that they saw plenty of signs, and then Sina asks Mist why did he not warn the citizens if he knew that the stampede was going to happen so that they could prepare and evacuate in time. Han says that they only knew that the rampage would happen, but they had no idea about the time it would take. That is why warning the people was useless. Ralma chimes in, asking Mist if all this is really his plan, and if he somehow influenced the dungeon rampage. He makes it clear that he cannot do anything like that, and this was not even his plan to begin with. He was ordered to keep everything secret by someone way high in the food chain. Ralma starts piecing everything together, and realizes that since the rampage was unlikely to bring any harm to the capital, the king and the ministers didn't issue a warning that would throw the entire country in chaos. However, they didn't also leave the people of the city to be slaughtered. She finally realizes that the mysterious white pillars that have been erected all over the city must be some sort of precaution prepared by Mist, and he praises her for being so observant. He then proposes a deal to her, asking her to fight on the front lines to protect the people, while they head to the deepest floor of the dungeon and defeat the boss. Lost says that the dungeon boss has never been found, but Han tells him that they have a pretty good idea about where it is. Defeating the boss will cut the mana supply to the monsters, and the rampage will end instantly. Lost and Sina still think that it is a dangerous plan, but Ralma accepts the deal. Meanwhile, in the city, Ronaldo is doing Siwu with the monsters, and Lyra is telling Seg to try and fight like him. Just then, a bunch of ogres arrive there and overwhelm the other adventurers. Seg looks at the worried kids behind them, and decides to attack the ogres and defeat them before they do any harm. On the other hand, Han leads Ralma and others to a secret location in the Adventurers Guild using the Anywhere door. They come to a small sealed room in the middle, that Ralma opens using her magic. She then tells Lost not to trust Mist too much, calling him by his name instead of addressing him as her stupid student. Lost realizes something is odd, but before he can do anything, Ralma enters the strange room and the wall closes after her. Then suddenly, a beam of light erupts from the room, and it slowly covers the entire city with a magic barrier that allows only humans to enter it and blocks all the monsters. Lost realizes that Ralma is powering that barrier, and he immediately runs to Seg and others who are done with defeating the monsters. Lost tells them what happened, and Ronaldo is the only one who realizes the gravity of the situation. Lost says that even though it may put her life at risk, Ralma decided to protect the city. The girls are concerned about what he means, and Lost explains that Ralma is powering the barrier around the city, and it must need a huge amount of magic. Usually, a magician would lose consciousness after releasing too much magic, but he is certain that the room Ralma is in is a magic tool that will keep sucking her magic until her life ends. Lost is worried about her, and then suddenly, a golden griffin flies towards the city. Seg panics because griffins are extremely powerful monsters and even elites struggle against them. The griffin attacks the city, but it is repelled by the barrier. It keeps attacking, and Ronaldo says that this is bad news, because if the barrier takes damage, more magic will be sucked out of Ralma to repair it. Lost decides to fight the griffin, but Ronaldo stops him, saying that he is not alone. They rush outside the barrier and begin defeating the weaker monsters so that they can fight the griffin in peace. But then suddenly, another legendary monster called Fenrir comes there. Ronaldo tells Lost's group to fight the electric fox while he deals with the griffin. He rushes ahead, and Fenrir tries chasing him, but Armia stops it with a fireball. The Fenrir immediately rushes towards her, but Lost reacts quickly and blocks its attack. He fights off the Fenrir all by himself, but slowly, the fox starts getting faster than he can handle. Lost gets injured by its claws, but Seg attacks the Fenrir before it can deal the finishing blow. Cena takes Lost back to safety so that Lyra can heal him, while Seg and Armia keep the fox distracted. Suddenly, the Fenrir howls, calling a lick to back it up. The lick attacks Armia, and Cena goes to save her. While Seg is distracted because of that, the Fenrir leaps over him and rushes to attack Lyra instead. It pushes her away, and then bites Lost, tossing him high up in the air. As he falls to the ground, still unconscious, Cena gets really angry. She charges straight at the Fenrir, hitting it with a powerful punch. Seg and Lyra tell her that it is too risky, but she doesn't listen to them as she keeps attacking the electric fox. She then lands a powerful kick on its head and sends it flying, but the fox returns, more ferocious than before. It overwhelms Cena, injuring her, and then pinning her to the ground, but she smiles, telling it that it fell for the trick. Just then, Lost leaps at the monster, stabbing it with his knife and dealing a deep wound. The truth is that when the Fenrir tossed him earlier, he was conscious. He healed himself and signaled to Cena to buy him some time, and she tried her best not to disappoint him. She tells the monster that it lost because it didn't see through that simple trick, and then it vanishes because of the damage Lost's knife did. Cena is happy that they won, but she starts losing consciousness because of the injuries and the blood loss. When she wakes up later, she finds herself surrounded by her friends, and her body doesn't hurt anymore. Ronaldo tells her that her injuries were not that serious that 2 healers couldn't patch her up. Cena asks him about the griffin, and he shows her the magic crystal he got after defeating it. She is relieved to see that and thinks that Ralma will be safe for the time being, and Lost says that it all depends on whether Mist keeps his promise or not. Ronaldo says that they have no choice but to trust him for now. Lost then suggests that they return to the inn and come up with a strategy. Suddenly, she hears Han saying that it is unfortunate that she is still alive, and the next moment, he is strangling her from behind. No one can understand what is happening, and Cena can only call out Lost's name as Han drags her into the anywhere door and vanishes. Lost tries following them, but it is useless, and he is devastated. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and watch the video on your screen next.